French Shalom and greetings to you all. Now, I hope you took some time to celebrate International Women's Day. It's the most important people on earth. And also, don't forget spring's coming. Time's changing, and that makes me think of the birthdays of some dear old friends, Deborah and Sherry. I hope it's a wonderful year for you both. And make sure you all change your clocks, speaking of time. Strange as that practice is, and we spring ahead. In case you weren't sure, I used to always forget which one was which. Now, I keep thinking it's the last time, but it continues like the ever-ready bunny. I know at one point this was connected to farming and walking miles to go to school, like when I was a kid. But those times have changed. Now, I always make sure that I change the clock on the stove and the microwave before I go to bed. And of course, before GPS systems took over cars, I used to leave the car clock alone because I could never figure out where the control for it was. And I knew it would revert to real time sooner or later. And of course, every time we changed the clock, we say the other one was the real time. Now, I was out for dinner the other night, and I hadn't been thinking about too much, and I walked by this huge protest shouting comments about genocide, killing children, blocking a street, and completely destroying any hope the merchants had of making a living. There were 20 police cars there. It just continued on its mindless way, the shouting, the screaming, the senseless protesting. And it made me think of the incredible use of media that has twisted the world so that terror organizations are seen as heroes. So much so that even the UN's Directorate of Anti-Semitism and Israel Hatred, the UNRWA, the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian Refugees, which actively and unabashedly participated in the October 7th slaughter of innocents, is having its briefly suspended funding restored by the Western world. Oh, good. Let's all celebrate the world funding genocide. Now, this new global village reminded me, of course, of my days back at the University of Toronto when I met Marshall McLuhan, who said the global village is a world in which you don't necessarily have harmony. You have extreme concern with everybody else's business and involvement in everybody else's life. How true that was. You have no privacy anymore. Everything is the world's business. Everything gets posted. A 60s visionary who saw what technology could lead to, I don't think anybody thought it would become what it is. He suggested that when you have a research question, you're not going to go out and buy a book anymore. Instead, through this new world of instant communication, you'll simply describe what you want, and the world's computers will provide you with what you seek. Now, of course, what he didn't realize was how controlled the what you seek would be. He simply didn't know we would name her in our continuous effort to anthropomorphize. The greatest danger right now is the loss of freedom of knowledge as the freedoms get stripped away. And of course, you have a chance to celebrate freedom in about a month when Passover rolls around, the holiday that specifically celebrates freedom. And of course, things in the world are moving at breakneck speed. There's a motion to life. But there's a separate motion to the geopolitical world where things occur simultaneously all over the world, each having the ability to affect us wherever, however, whenever we may be. We see it in Europe, Asia, the US, Canada, everywhere. Rules one day are not rules the next. Friends one day are not friends the next. But like everything through all time, as King Solomon, Shlomo the Wise, once said, when faced with adversity, this too shall pass. Speaking of things passing, winter's about to pass as we're coming up on the spring equinox. Spring is the time for love, a time for new beginnings. It's a time of the season when love runs high. In this time, give it to me easy. Let me try with pleasured hands to take you in the sun, to promised lands to show you everyone. It's the time, the season for loving. As we approach it, we will devote some time to the equinox Orthodox and its importance. And it's time to mark the year you want to have. And of course, we've also got coming up in actually about a month from now, solar eclipse, which is always an exciting event. Now, before we welcome any of these great events, I want to welcome all of you as we gather, as we always do, as a like-minded group, a collective consciousness of seekers showing faith, any and all faith, love, any and all love, a true chavur, a fellowship, to express our nature of kindness, compassion, thoughts, feelings, hopes, dreams, and wishes. He unites us all in this community house of spirit, path, ruach, sharing, bringing light, keeping fear at bay. And even though together we're individual in our approach, each connecting in his or her their own way. So once again, please do go ahead, invite everybody out, physically, digitally, psychically, emotionally, spiritually. Anyway, it all to gather and share from Psalm 133. Notice the Hine Matov, which means come together. Hine Matov. How good and pleasant it is for brothers and sisters together. Community. 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 Together. That we support each other in this community. We still spread love, goodwill, and fellowship to the world. Remember, friends, this is you setting aside a little bit of sacred time in your sacred space to honor and converse with whoever, whatever you happen to believe in. Because we all believe in something. It's part of your kavanah, your intention. You put it out into the universe. It's your goodwill. Goodwill and intention are the roots of what you control, of what you can correct. It is your intention. It sets in motion everything that occurs in your life. So let's take some time now. Let's use that intention. Let's send some of that goodwill, some light, some healing out to everyone who needs it. Healing and renewal for everybody. Floats through space, finding those in need. So send it out. For those you know and for the souls and spirits of everybody you love. So think of whoever that needs healing and renewal and love or just plain goodwill. Focus on them. Call their names. It's not just for people. It's for our pets. It's for the earth. It is the healing of the world. The tikkun olam. It's part of our spiritual genetic makeup. Part of the healing of the world is always thoughts and energy for health and renewal and goodwill for everybody. They don't have to be sick. It's for those in our hearts and our minds. Let's all send energy out for the people in need everywhere. Special thoughts and prayers always for those in need of assistance. We pray for those who need prayer. We don't have to know them. We want health, recovery, good life for everyone around us. For Kathleen and Nina, for Paul and Melanie, for Carla and Jessica, for Lucy and the fairy godmother, for Gabe, Marilyn, for Maria and Charles, for deluded Michael and Shelley and Gloria, for the Cardinal, Barbara, for Pam, Steph, for Joel, Andy, for Terry and Linda, John and Maria, for Dory and Teresa, for Johnny and Fern, for Connie and Ronnie, for Tally and Luke and Kay, for Nina and Danny, for all those suffering and in need. Let's not forget to include the familiars of our lives, all of our sacred animal friends everywhere, for everyone you know in need, for the whole world. For Rosary, friends. It is the kindness, the healing, wishes, goodwill, and love we all send out. It just circles the world, finding those in need. So thank you, each of you, for all you do, for all you care, because the world is a world of spirit, and spirit, my friends, never dies. Me. May the source of strength bless the ones for us. Help us find the courage. Make our lives a blessing. The renewal of body. The renewal of spirit. Let us say, Amen. Misha Barak, let us all have our spirits renewed. This is the great prayer for healing, in which we call upon God to heal as He has healed before. Misha Barak, may He who blessed is all healing's a blessing. Let's all send and receive healing and renewal energy. It's all in our efforts to share, to care, to love, to grow. Now, the world is simply a better place when we connect and unify and not divide and have love. Today, we just get so pulled in different directions. We get stuck in places. And that is simply stress-inducing, and stress kills. Remember, we're only a few weeks away from, more celebrations. We celebrate Purim when we read the book of Esther. We celebrate with 4 simple things we should be doing every day in our lives. Giving charity, remembering and honoring that Purim occurs. It's an event that we have to honor. And we do it with the ongoing Holy Day. We hear the story referred to as the Megillah of Esther. Megillah means scroll or book, that's all. It'll be on our channel. And we celebrate like we do whenever we get together. Please do not let your spiritual connections get lost in details. Think about the meaning, what it represents. It's the ability of the powerless to influence and shine a light, to survive, to make a difference. Here it is, the story of a woman with no rights and no ability to speak up, doing just that. She ended up saving people from genocide. It is when you dress up and ask the burning question, a question perhaps you should be asking yourself far more often. Who are you? Who? Who? Are you? Who? It's such a great question, and it's not one just for Purim. It's just that Purim's an opportunity to dress as you feel self-dictates. So who are you? And why aren't you more often? So join us in a couple of weeks when we celebrate the holiday named for Apur, which is an Akkadian, which is a Babylonian word meaning a lot or a dice, because the date was picked by casting lots. And it's the second of the great holidays that's centered around the casting of a lot, the other one being Yom Kippur. Bet you didn't know that ancient Judaism was such a gaming religion. Of course, that in Hanukkah with the spinning of the dreidel. Now, this week we got the second last reading of Exodus, the book of names. And in most years, this and next week's readings are read together, but in these leap years, they are not. So join me as we read Vayachel, and he assembled. Now, the end of the book of Exodus marks a huge transition in the Torah. The story stops, and it stops before the journey begins. It's interrupted by the book of the priests, Leviticus. Now, it takes center spot in the 5 books of Moses. Can't tell you why. And it's a book that loses more people than anything. It was a manual for the priest alone. It was never for the people. It was a handbook of instruction for a very elite group. The chosen priesthood. No explanation, no discussion. Simply ritual rules to be followed. Not by the people, by the priests. Or people under direction from the priest. It probably never belonged here in the Torah where it is. In many ways, it puts a hole in what was a somewhat cohesive tale. And one of the things we seek to do is always try and fix the holes. I'm fixing a hole where the rain gets in. It stops my mind from wandering where it will go. It really doesn't matter if I'm wrong. I'm right where I belong. I'm right where I belong. See the people standing there, disagree on every word. Wonder why they don't get in my door. Leviticus is ritual. People made sacrifices purely under priestly direction. They didn't go to pray. That's a more modern concept. They only gathered 3 times in the year to hold specific ordained festivals to God. I imagine they were actually far too busy surviving. Hence the importance of Sabbath, the other holy day we are told we must remember and honor. And it comes every week, not every year, and is very dominant in this week's reading. And it emphasizes what I've already said. Of the 10 outer rings, this one seemed to have priority. Exodus 35:1. And Moses assembled all the congregation, the children of Israel said to them, these are the things that the Lord commanded to do them. 6 days work shall be done. 7th day you shall have a holy thing, a Sabbath, a ceasing to the Lord. Here it is again. But this time Moses gives an add-on, which was not mentioned the first time around. He then says, you shall not burn a fire in all of your homes on the Sabbath day. This is new. This is specific. At home, no fire. It doesn't say, not at work, not at synagogue, not anywhere else. It's not at home. But the Sabbath is about separation and sanctification of time. It is about peace and respite, about family, community. It implies you can have fire outside the home. And of course, this has contributed to the rule of not cooking on the Sabbath. Hence, the Sabbath button on stoves. The Sabbath is special. It holds a unique place in the nexus between God and man, between heaven and earth. May you be like Ruth, like Esther. May you be deserving of praise. Strengthen them, O Lord. Keep them from the strangers' ways. May God bless you and grant you long lives. May the Lord fulfill our Sabbath prayer for you. May God make you good mothers and wives. May He send you husbands who will care for you. May the Lord protect and defend. May the Lord preserve you from pain. Favor them, O Lord, with happiness and peace. Hear our Sabbath prayer. Amen. The Sabbath. Now, even if you give it a half hour only of pure intention, it will change you. Give it a throw, my friends. Now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of the construction. Work begins. Exodus 35:10. Let everyone wise of heart among you come and make everything that the Lord's commanded. The tabernacle, its tent, its cover, its clasps, its frames, its bars, its columns, its bases, the ark, its poles, the atonement dais, the covering pavilion, the table and its poles and all of its equipment, the showbread, Exodus, the menorah for lighting, its lamps, the oil. Everything we heard before, we hear again. It's quite a list of items. But there is an interesting turn here. You'll notice turns throughout this whole thing. Exodus 35:2. And the men came together with the women. There's no separation. This is one of the only times the Torah does not separate between what men are to do and what women are to do. Perhaps this is a reminder of unity. When we are in service to God, after all, don't forget women can be Nazarites. People bring their offerings to go towards the construction, and excitement was everywhere for the priests at hand. But remember, the people really did not know yet how the rituals or observations would be. They hadn't been laid out. All they knew were the 10 utterings, and probably not even to recite. They were simply told them. Well, it turns out the people bring far more than what was required of them. And this is an essential concept ultimately for the entire notion of law and commandment in Judaism. The law is not regarded as a burden. It is mandatory, and yet one fulfills it out of choice, and always with joy. Accordingly, the word for commandment, the word used, mitzvah, has two meanings even to this day. It means a law that must be obeyed. But Jews also commonly understand it to mean a good deed freely performed. You'll hear people say of something, it's a mitzvah. It's a good deed. So we get the details of all of these things. We get the details of the tabernacle, its curtains, its dimensions. Details of perhaps the most famous relic in history, the Ark of the Covenant. With the great descriptive giveaway. Exodus 37, and he made 2 cherubs of gold. Made them a hammered work at the 2 ends of the atonement dais. 1 cherub at this end, 1 cherub at that end. He made the cherubs from the atonement dais at its 2 sides, and the 2 cherubs were spreading wings above, covering over the atonement dais with their wings, and their faces each towards its brother. The cherubs' faces were toward the atonement dais. The winged cherubim at either end of the ark. Now remember, this item served very specific purposes. It was a box designed to hold the covenant, bit of manna, maybe even the Urim and Thummim were housed here between uses, but it also served as the throne of God. Exodus 37:6. And he made an atonement dais of pure gold, its length 2.5 cubits, its width 1.5 cubits. And he made 2 cherubs of gold. He made them of hammered work at the 2 ends of the atonement dais. 1 cherub at this end, 1 cherub at that end. He made the cherubs of the atonement dais at its 2 sides. It is like the transformer of boxes, changes into all these things, has all these purposes. Then the next most famous, which we saw carted away, carved in the Arch of Titus in Rome. If you've never been there, try and go. You'll see it. The great menorah, the 7-branch symbol of light. Exodus 37:17. He made the menorah of pure gold. He made the menorah of hammered work, its shaft and its branch, its cups, its ornaments, its flowers were part of it. 6 branches coming out from its sides. 3 of the menorah's branches from one side, 3 of the menorah branches from its second side. 3 almond-shaped cups in the one branch, 3 ornaments and flower, 3 almond-shaped cups in the other branch with the ornament and flower. The first symbol of everlasting light. The great tool that allows us to face fear and see it fade away. For when there is light, my friends, there is no fear. It serves as a reminder that God is with us and lights our way at all times, day or night. We need never fear. A simple candle is your reminder. Now, the balance of the reading details the making of the great objects which will be used in worship and in the development of a religion which doesn't exist yet, and a means of treating all other life on earth. Now, we may have drifted from the original intent, but we can get back on the right path. Even when we fall off the path and veer direction for a while in life, we can go back. When we try, we succeed. And we read all the details of the things we've seen, pictures, imaginings, recreations of images that immediately transport us through time, through space, back to our roots, to the beginning of our spiritual practices that have been part of our DNA for thousands of years. Everything we read about here. And friends, they were just modernizations of previous tools of worship. Just as we continue to refine the tools of time, sometimes in the belief we are simply saying, thank you. Pulled me out of bondage, made me renewed inside. Filled up a hunger that had always been denied. Opened up a door to passion that you opened it so wide. And you chose it to be among the few. What can I do? Now we go through the machinations of bringing to fruition all of the things announced. Then we're told the people are ready to move on. They have been in the desert at the mountain of God for a year. The official wilderness journey is now about to begin. We have finished Exodus. Yes, my friends, the world is sacred. So it's everything again. Express your gratitude, light a candle, make a wish, celebrate your life and the lives of those you love, share your feelings. Live free, be free, honor your freedom, be well, be happy, be blessed. Share and honor the light, and all who live in the light, and continue to shine. Continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone and end to terror and hatred. Remember, we're a community. We learn together. We celebrate each other. We love each other. We share this ride together, men and women equally. Let's all send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, goodwill, and healing to all who need it. Please do. Learn to forgive, learn to love. Open your hearts. Honor the relationships of your life and tell those you love that you do love them. Examine your intentions. Use them to imprint your will on the universe, because we set in motion all that happens in our lives. It's our intention, our kavana. It's our cause, our effect. It's all linked. You always have time to forgive and to be forgiven. You have the knowledge of what's good and bad. So acknowledge what you've done wrong to yourself, to God, to any person you've wronged. Ask forgiveness. Do so with sincerity, accountability, vulnerability. Sometimes still have to pay, but you will be forgiven. Forgive those who hurt you. As you learn to be forgiving and compassionate, it's so important to be. The secret of forgiveness, compassion, and peace lies in acceptance, my friends. Can you accept yourself, other people in the world just as they are? Can you accept life as it is without trying to control it? If you do, you can experience the peace that acceptance brings. So keep on dreaming. Keep on being. Keep sharing. Keep shining. Keep teaching. Keep spreading joy and goodwill. Do not follow fear. Always follow love, because it's always in front of you. Work to be present. Body. Expand your heart. Quiet your mind, because the deepest source of real power lies in your consciousness and your ability to be mindful, to be aware, to be present in all of life's circumstances. Love with the heart. We're all part of a greater whole. Embrace love, not fear, forgiveness, not anger. Be there for someone, because someone will always be there for you, whether you know it or not. And continue to explore faith and belief and what they mean to you. And never accept shame as a natural state, because whatever you feel, others have felt. Whatever you've experienced, others have too. We share together. We learn together. We help each other. We are each of us simply trying to find love and acceptance and support. We all have or could have that special someone in our lives, so find them. Tell them what they mean. You're never alone on your journey. Keep forgiving those you need to forgive, and keep asking forgiveness from those you need to ask forgiveness of. It is a mechanism that is so important to you. And listen to the voice of God as he, she, it, them, they talks to you. Friends, we're always reminded to remember our relationships with God, the Creator, the universe, whatever term appeals to you. Keep putting your ego aside. We talked about it last time. It is the great golden calf that we all carry, because we are on a journey together. And our journey across the desert of fear and lack is nothing more than our journey home. And we're all together, alone, on that journey. I'm sitting in the railway station, got a ticket for my destination. On a tour of one-night stands, my suitcase and guitar in hand. Every stop is neatly played for a poet and a one-man band. Homeward bound, I wish I was. Homeward bound, home where my thoughts escape, home where my music's playing, home where my love lies waiting silently for me. Home is where the heart is. The heart is the home of God. So thank you for joining me, my friends. I'll see you all next week. Shabbat shalom and blessings to you all. Take care.